this point, you should be ready to integrate your profit goal and rounding components into your base component and make sure that what you output to the user is successfully written to the file. If this was an assessment, it would be a good opportunity to put in a planning update. You also want to check your nice to have column and see if there are any features on there that you have time to implement. In my case, I ended up creating another component to check that the product name could be used as the file name. So here's the documentation for that, and it's to provide you with an insight into what your trialing could look like. In this case, I began with a thinking slide where I realized the file name needed to be checked for length and that the characters were not illegal. I then did some research to replace my spaces with underscores, and I did some trialing to ensure that the product name could be used as a file name and that it didn't have illegal characters. The first thing I tried didn't work, but the second thing did. And this is, of course, followed with test plans, evidence of testing, another test plan for file length, and more evidence of testing. In an assessment, you absolutely must have evidence that your final program has been tested from start to finish, hopefully covering all logical pathways. We've got 3 things we need to do. We need to confirm that our variable and fixed costs work with a dollar profit goal. We need to show that our variable costs only works with a percentage goal. And in an assessment, you also want to confirm that your unexpected boundary cases work correctly, and that might be something that you end up videoing. What you should be doing in the assessment throughout is updating those end slides where you talk about how your planning, testing, and trialing helped you make a high-quality outcome. The story for fundraising calculator is quite different for MMF. So here's my planning slide, and here's more of what I said on planning. And here's the rest of my planning story. I also had slides for testing. And if you have key debugging, you could put some of it into your discussion. The last part of that discussion involved talking about how my trialing helped me to choose the most suitable code and create an outcome that is fit for purpose. To do your final integration, make a copy of version 1 of your base and check that you have the libraries you need. And then make sure that you've got all the functions you need. You'll probably need to add your profit goal and rounding function, and if you have a function to check the file name, you'd include that as well. Most of the code will be similar to what you had in your initial base component. Under our Get Profit Goal comment, we can get the profit goal, work out the selling price, and also work out the suggested price. You will, of course, need to update the strings that you're using. You should use your plan to ensure that you've got the strings that you need in the correct order. So there's what my code looks like. And as you can see, I've got some additional code for my selling price, profit goal, sales target, and suggested price. And then when I wrote to the file, I tested a number of times, putting in additional spacing as necessary. Hopefully at this point, you have a working base component that outputs to a file, and that would mean that you are ready to attempt the assessment.